I've been seeing more and more elite cavalry making resurgence recently with the release of the cavalry beta. Granted, it was released into public patch some time ago, but still, and watching tournaments and playing various games with a lot of different people, I've been seeing quite a bit of elite cavalry, and today, I'm up against Spudhouse, my patron. We're going High Elves versus Lizardmen, Horned Ones versus Dragon Princes. So I've got 2 Dragon Princes protecting this flank here. 4 spearmen through the front. We've got 4 archers, 2 sea guards, a bolt thrower, another dragon prince over on the far side, and then Alariel to provide some healing to help support the horned ones. We've got some chameleon stalkers. They're going to do some initial skirmishing. I try and dodge with Alariel, be a little cheeky here, but she's actually going to take a face full of damage. Got the horned ones, of course. Some Saurus warriors, skink cohort with Jazz, Redcrest skink chief leading the way. Some pterodon riders as well. And a skink priest, lore of heavens. There we go. I was getting a little cheeky there. The chameleon stalkers just used just about all their ammunition, but they did get a ton of value blasting Alariel directly in the face. So that's not great, but definitely going to play it a little defensively here as I have this bolt thrower. Try and use it to pick away the models of the horned ones. Looks like we've already been able to make contact there a few times. Going to continue to try and do so. The woods may protect a little bit there. Stalkers moving in. Didn't use their precursors yet. Doesn't look like they got too much shock damage on the spearmen, but still filtering in. Start fighting. My archers, I'm just going to have focused Saurus, because Saurus, they don't have the most armor, only 60 armor and relatively low missile block chance. If I do focus them with all my archers, we're able to do some pretty substantial damage here. Going to be important if I want my cavalry to be able to operate freely. Meanwhile, over on this far flank, this is one of the main reasons why you would take Dragon Princes in this matchup. Chameleon Stalkers are going to do basically no damage to them because of their fire and physical resistance. They can just directly countercharge in here. Spudhouse is going to follow up with some Horned Ones, so definitely a dangerous situation for me. But again, that melee defense, physical resistance of the Dragon Princes should help them out there. Meanwhile, over here, this skink chief, Redcrest, also moving in, forcing a little bit of a blob here. I think Spudhouse had meant to bring in the Horned Ones, but they're just a hair late supporting there, and Ilario is able to get a little bit of healing and damage in return on the Redcrest. Not the fastest burst damage, but it's just enough. He doesn't have that much HP on his own Horned One. But Horned One support finally does land home. Pterodons are going to try and take down the Eagle Claw Bolt Throwers, but I'm having to pull back these other Dragon Princes as the Horned Ones. The Stalkers are all too much in the front line. Again, just concentrating archers, trying to finish off, Saurus as much as we can. Spearmen will eventually collapse, but they'll be able to hold for some time. Saurus are starting already to wrap up and around the flank, get on those Sea Guards. Saurus and Skinks. Meanwhile, the Dragon Princess just continuing to hold. This spear actually pulls from the front line, having defeated some, I think probably Skink cohorts. Going to come back and try and support these 2 Dragon Princes, finish off these Horned Ones. Try and get these princes away and free. Lariel, of course, still healthy. Gonna be able to throw around some Earth Bloods. Dragon Princes are getting pretty low. There's still a lot of Saurus we're gonna have to grind through, but let's see. Gonna get a little ping-pong charge around in here. Charge up through the front line as well. Brutal wind blast just ripping apart my archers. Nice side-shotting straight through the line there. Pterodons also move into combat. We've got the Redcrest back in combat, but he is being hunted by the angry Eagle Lady. Hilariel is just such a strong lord with her healing. And the Eagles definitely no pushover in terms of combatants. 420 weapon strength, definitely very dank. And 62 charge bonus, pretty solid as well. Her health pool's pretty low, but on that cycle charge, she definitely could do some pretty solid damage. The Redcrest is an interesting choice. You know, with the Warrior's Crest, he's got insanely strong stats on defense and attack. Not the most weapon strength in the world, and he doesn't have the greatest support abilities either. You can see he's actually not even able to get in full contact here. It does actually get an attack animation there, which does some pretty good damage, but once that Warrior's Crest falls, his own skills, weapon skills falter, and he is going to rout there, unfortunately. So things are looking a little grim for the Lizardmen. The Saurus are still holding, but the Dragon Princes at this point are able to charge into different targets, sweep around the field, and just apply lots of damage in various places. Shield of Thorns help to give some physical resistance as well. Big fan of that spell to help prevent damage in the first place. Relariel yourself is going to pop in, try and finish off the Skink Priest, just to put the dagger in the leadership. Finishing touches here. And that should basically be it. Yeah, once the Skink Priest routes, that pretty quickly triggers army losses. So fun game, well played too. Spudhouse, nice to see some elite cav on both sides. The Horned ones struggled a little bit there, but still were able to provide some pretty good damage. Likewise for myself, the Dragon Prince is 100% carried my build. I mean, the Archers probably got some okay value. They honestly didn't get that much. Like, if you kind of added them all up together, it was decent, but individually, just about none of them paid for themselves. Same could be said of the Saurus, though. I mean, they came in here and had a pretty hard time against all that bowfire. Some of the Stalkers, I mean, one of them got an instant chevron blasting Alariel, but unfortunately it wasn't able to follow up with the Pterodons or these other units to try and get Alariel off the field. Yeah, I like the Red Crest to a degree, but at the same time, we'll have to look at his cost. The fact that he doesn't have any support abilities, in my view, makes either the Kroxigor Ancient or Saurus Oldblood a better choice, just because they have Horn of Kygor, which gives you a nice melee attack buff. Can be very important against High Elves with their high melee defense to get that extra punch. We'll look at that in just a second here. Yeah, for myself, pretty much went over all the values, right? Yeah. Bolt Thrower contributes a little bit, mostly just pressuring Bloodhouse to come to me. But just quickly to talk about some elite cavalry. Of course, if you're going to go with the Horned 1 build for Lizardmen, there's a few different schools of thought, right? Like, the Red Crest on the Horned 1 is exceptionally cheap, so if you just want to go with lots of numbers, there's certainly something there. With nothing, he's only 1050. You probably do want Warrior's Crest. Opal Amulet might not be a bad idea either to give some damage resistance. He may have had that there, I honestly didn't notice, but yeah, in terms of, you know, just being as cheap as possible, he's definitely up there. You know, a Tic-Tac-Toe also a super cheap option. If you completely cut him down, he's only 800. Relatively decent flyer. He may struggle with Alariel's healing. Mono E, yeah, just 1v1, let's say. But the Saurus Oldblood on the cold one also relatively cheap, but I just like him a little bit better because you can layer this Stand Your Ground as well as Horn of Kygor together and really get some really good support value. So Horned ones, if we look here, 60 weapon strength is ridiculous, and 45 attacks, also pretty strong baseline. But considering that Dragon Princes, right, and a lot of other high elf units have, you know, in the 40s defense with martial prowess active, martial mastery in the case of Dragon Princes puts them at 42 melee defense. So, I mean, you're still without your charge bonus, more or less just base hit chance, and even then, 43 charge is pretty good, but it's not incredible for a unit of this class. So, giving that extra punch on Horn of Kygor gives extra melee attack and charge bonus on the initial engagement, can help get that extra shock damage to punch through martial mastery as quickly as possible. So you've got Saurus Oldblood can provide that. He also has the Stand Your Ground, which is really nice. Kroxigor Ancient does have the Horn of Kygor as well. He has a slightly different ability set. He has a speed and vigor debuff and leadership. He's more of an anti-infantry character as well, so maybe not as useful against the High Elves, but 120 armor is pretty tough for them to get through. And, you know, 4,600 HP, not too bad. Let's see. Yeah, Saurus Oldblood on the cold one does have more at 5,200, so still think he's probably the best option in terms of support, attack and defense support. However, there's obviously the role of healing. You could just argue that you should just take your own healer here. Greater Arcane Conduit will allow you to cast quite a few healing spells, and Vigor, the Vigor Refresh Regrowth could be good in the late game in general. Just the Regrowth plus Earthblood. You could even take Shield of Thorns as well, given that you'll probably have enough magic to use it a few times. Aura of Pretzels also does provide some defensive buff if the Horned ones happen to be fighting around where the Slawn is, so some pretty good options there as well. I don't know if you would want to also invest in a Rev Crystal. This may be honestly too much in terms of healing, but theoretically you could actually resurrect models with the Rev Crystal, you know, using it at the same time as like a regrowth, or regrowthing to put all the models to max HP as much as possible, then using the you know, this Rev Crystal effect. I don't know. Maybe it's a little bit too expensive to be worth it. But that's kind of my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. What would be the best Lord choice to support horned ones. I look forward to hearing your thoughts. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button. Every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you next time.